Hello, I'm Pamela Davis. Welcome to episode 190 of the Well Done Life podcast. Hello, and welcome back to episode 190 of the Well Done Life podcast. I'm your host, Pamela Davis. If you are new here, hey, how are you? Welcome. I am so glad that you're here with us this week. I hope you will stay for a very long time. And if you've been here before, you guys know the deal. What's up? I love you. I love you deep. And I am so grateful that you have been on this journey with me. I wouldn't be here without you. And I am so grateful for your support, your love, your energy. I want you to stay forever. And I want you to bring lots of friends. So please, because there's always room in this party for everyone. Before we get started with this week's episode, I'd like to be really foundational. It's really important to me because I feel like this podcast, this brand is like a safe space. And with that, I want to make sure that I'm building it on really strong foundations. And so the two key foundations that I always like to build this safe space, this brand on, are clarity and love. Clarity, really straightforward. I just want to make sure that you understand that the Well Done Life brand is something that I created because I believe in women. I believe in the power of us. I believe that when we share our stories, we give each other a chance to be vulnerable and a chance to be inspired and supported. Because there was a season in my life when I was at my lowest. And if I think about it and look at it, women are the ones who got me through. Women are the ones who wiped my head when I felt like I wasn't going to make it. They lifted me up when I fell down. They gave me the strength to go forward. They shared their vulnerabilities with me. They let me be vulnerable and weak, and I was safe. So that's what this space is about. And I hope that by sharing my journey, as well as spotlighting other women, that you see that nothing that you are facing right now is something that no one else has faced. And not to diminish what you're going through, because never want to do that. But I want to show you that means that the season that you're in is temporary. I don't want you out here making permanent decisions in temporary situations. I want to show you that your dreams are viable and you got to go out here and fight for your dreams. You got to fight for yourself. You matter so much. And so I hope that you are inspired. I hope that that makes you feel the safety in being able to share your story, because by sharing your story, like I said, you can inspire someone, you can save someone for the pitfalls that you've had, and you can show them that there is life after tragedy and there's so much more that they can have and accomplish. So the Well Done Life is a compilation of all of that. It's my promise to God that if I got through my journey, that I would share the good and bad of it so that I could hopefully help other people see that there is a way through. So that is what the Well Done Life is about. And then that leads me right into my second foundation, because it's my favorite foundation. You know, I'm a sucker for love. I always say that. And love is the thing. And everything that we do in this space will always be rooted in love. And with that, that means that I like to make sure that I am sending you prayers. I think prayers are one of the greatest things that you can give someone as an act of love. And so I like to make sure that I share my prayers with you, because I truly believe in the power also of two or more praying in agreement. So this week, I am definitely sending you prayers of getting through. And when I say getting through, I want you to be able to realize that whatever you're facing, good, bad, right, wrong, indifferent, that you will get through it. Everything is situational. Like I said earlier, I don't want you making permanent decisions in temporary situations. And sometimes when you're in these situations, these challenges of life, it is really hard to see that they are just situations, because they feel so long term. Because, you know, time is relative. And if I think about it, you know, God's time is definitely a lot different than our time. And so you really, you know, fight with ourselves, or I know I fight with myself in regards to how I'm feeling about things. And so I want you to realize that you're going to get through. I'm in a season of get through. We'll talk about it. As many of you have known, I lost my brother unexpectedly on June the 5th. And so I've been kind of processing all of my emotions through that relationship and where I am. And so I want you to realize that you are going to get through, that life is not going to end. It's okay to take a season where you stop and take care of yourself, but you're going to get through. You're going to move forward. It doesn't make it easier especially when you're dealing with situations of grief. It's just, if I could say say anything about grief, I feel like it doesn't get better per se. It just gets more tolerable as time goes on. And so I hope you realize that, like I said, in your situation, you are going to get through, that this is a temporary feeling. It may not feel like it, but you will get to the other side. Don't give up while you're in the season. Keep pushing yourself to get through. And then that leads me instantly into my next prayer, which is gentleness. Because as you are trying to get through, it is very important that you are gentle with yourself. I know that that can sound counterintuitive. You know, everyone kind of always wants to keep moving and keep going. And I talk a lot about sitting still because I find that in stillness is where you have the ability to calibrate your body, your soul, your mind, and your heart. But you have to have the grace in order to sit in stillness, the grace to be able to just kind of recognize that you need to give yourself that space. When you are in those situations and seasons of life where you're extremely busy doing all the things or processing loss, you got to give yourself the ability to get through. So I am praying for you that you will have the ability to be gentle with yourself, to recognize that you are doing your best, and that your best is good enough. Not worrying about what other people think about that best either, just worrying about you. Because that's where gentleness really thrives, when we recognize that we are doing everything that we can, and it is enough, and we give ourselves that grace. That is where the power of gentleness can be healing. It can be inspiring. It can be restorative. So I hope that you will give yourself that. And then I also am sending you prayers of love. Of course, like I said, love is my thing. It is my favorite thing. But I also want you to recognize that love should never be taken for granted. Don't get comfortable in love. I'm going to talk more about this, but I had the opportunity to do a memorial service for my brother. I'm recording this on Saturday, June the 29th, and it is officially 1 week since we had his memorial service. And at his service, I talked about not getting comfortable in love. You know, it gets really easy in order for us to kind of navigate through life, getting to this place where we feel comfortable that people are around. You know, even though you don't talk to them every day or what have you, you get comfortable that people are there. And I'm here to tell you that we have to be cautious with that ability, because we have to understand that tomorrow isn't promised to anyone. And there could come a time where you may be expecting that person to be here and they're not here. Because obviously, you know, that is the cycle of life. And for myself, when I got a chance to speak at my brother's memorial service, I had gotten comfortable with my brother being around. I didn't talk to him every day. Our relationship, like I've expressed before, was complex. But I definitely got comfortable in the knowledge that he was there. And now that he's not here, it definitely is different. I feel differently. It makes me recount all of the conversations that we had so that I can make sure that I told him that I loved him and that I was honest with him about how I felt. And over the course of it, I feel comfortable, and I constantly kind of maybe side check myself. I think that's part of the grief where I try to go back through. I even look at our last text message and I know that love was there. Love was present in that text. Even though he was asking me for money, it still was love. And so I recognize that that at least gives me comfort, that at least makes me feel good. But it also reminds me of how important it is not to get comfortable in love. And like I said, I want you always to have love from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. I want you to be surrounded in love, but I also want you to share that love. I want you to recognize that people will not always be here every day. And so you don't want to waste time. Don't waste your words. If you love someone, tell them that you love them. I've gotten to this habit with my mom. You know, we tell each other, and my sister and my baby, and we tell each other we love each other all the time. And that makes me feel good because I think it's important. I always like to tell people that I love them, because if I love you, I love you. And there's no question about it. Because if there were to come a point in time where I'm not here, I want you to know that I loved you. And so I say that to hopefully inspire you to tell people that you love them. I know not everyone is as expressive with their words as they would like to be, but try. Because your words have energy. Your thoughts and your intentions have energy. Share that love. Share that feeling. Don't get comfortable in love. Love is an action word. So make sure that you create that action for yourself and for the others that you surround yourself with. And then rounding out my prayers this week, I am praying for you to have the ability to be open. Don't close yourself off to different places, different spaces, different people. Be open. Even in those moments when you feel like you don't want to go. I mean, because, I'm going to keep it real. Can I keep it really real? Let's all be honest. We are sitting here with like tons of invitations sometimes, and we'll say yes initially. We'll even buy the ticket and do all the things to get there. And then the day of the event comes and we come up with every excuse in the world as to why we should not go. I mean, I hope I'm not calling anybody out. I'm calling myself out because I am notoriously that person. If I could probably sit in my house 24/7, I would do it and be okay, because that's just how my mind works. Sometimes my social anxiety works out just how I am as a person. Like, I like being in the house. I don't know, I loved being out. I like doing the things too, but I'm not gonna lie, I like being in my house in pajamas, sitting on the couch, watching TV sometimes, or just listening to music, reading a book. There is peace in my home. And so I find that sometimes when I get invitations and buy tickets and plans to go to places the day of the event, I'm trying to come up with every reason possible why I can stay in my home. And I'm telling you, we have to stop that. We have to stop finding every excuse. Now, don't get me wrong. There's going to be some times where you're just going to have to succumb to it. Sometimes when you get the text from your friends and they're like, girl, we done cancel those plans. And you're like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. But in your spirit, deep, deep down, you're like, yes, thank you, Jesus, because I didn't want to go. Like, I'm just going to be honest because I know I do that. And for those of my friends who are probably listening, y'all do it too. So no judgments. We are all in that situation because many a time, especially after working or just doing all the things, we want to sit on our behind and be relaxed. And when somebody wants to cancel plans, never a hurt feeling, because girl, I will put those pajamas on in a heartbeat, grab a blanket, watch some television, read a book, relax my mind, and feel all the wiser. But I want us all to kind of get to a point where we recognize that we cannot do that all the time. You can do that a little bit, but don't do that all the time. Because if you do that all the time, you run the risk of missing your blessing. You run the risk of missing something that can lift you out of your mood. And I'm going to talk about this week because that's kind of what inspired me. That's what helped me get me back, because I'm not going to lie. This is my first episode back since my brother passed away. And I am so glad to be here, but I almost wasn't here. I really wasn't. To say that I haven't lost my words over these past month, if I think about it, because you guys are listening to this on the last day of June. And out of June, I would say 25 days out of 30, I lost my words. I really did. I have struggled. I have really, really struggled. And so I'm very grateful that I had the opportunity to go out this past week, because it really helped me recalibrate, and it helped me, I'll be honest, get back in this chair. It really did, because I wasn't ready. I was like, okay, I'm going to have to try to record because I need to be back out here. I have an event coming up. I have things to do. I was literally sitting here thinking about it from a obligation versus me really wanting to get out here, because I just hadn't felt the spirit. I hadn't felt anything move in me. I didn't have a word because I had lost my words again. And when I say again, it's because I've been in this season of my life before where I'd lost my words. When I lost my dad, I lost my words. And so I was like, God, I don't want to completely lose them, but I'm here. And I'm like all emotional, all over the place, grieving, doing all the things. And now I got to try to figure out how to get back here. But luckily, I had an opportunity to go to an event this week that I had never been to before. And it was like God had spoken to me like, this is what you needed. I knew that this is what you needed, and this is why I needed you to go. And I'm going to talk more about it because there is definitely so much purpose in it and so much alignment in regards to what I'm trying to accomplish, why I do what I do, that I have to talk about it because it inspired me so. But it reminded me of the ability and the importance of being open. And we have to start being more open. We cannot sit siloed in our emotions or in our homes, no matter how wonderfully and comfortable they are, and expect to go on, expect to grow, and expect to live. Like, no, we have to challenge ourselves to be open because we don't know it all. We don't know it all. We don't know who can speak into our lives. We don't know who we could meet, who could change our lives. And the only way that that's going to happen is we're going to have to be open. And even in the seasons where we are down, depressed, going through tragedies of life, we still have to be open. We have to keep going forward because we have to think about it. No one that we love would be sitting by, looking around, looking down on us, wanting us not to live. They would want us to go forward. And so we have to figure out a way to keep pushing. And it's hard. It gets rough sometimes. We get depressed. It gets hard, but we got to keep pushing. We got to go forward because if we can keep pushing and pressing to go to work, we can keep pushing and pressing to get out here and to do something that could speak into our souls, that can speak into our dreams, that can help us be the best versions of ourselves that we need to be. So you have to be open because opportunity doesn't always come knocking at the door. It always doesn't come in an email. So we have to recognize that relationships still matter, people still matter, and sometimes you need to be in a room with like-minded people to remind you that it's going to be okay, and that you can be changed and inspired in that moment. So I want you to be open. And I know that that probably sounds a lot, but I promise I'm teeing it up. I'm going somewhere. But I definitely have to make sure, I wanted to make sure that this week I sent you that prayer because I understood the power of being open. And I am so grateful for that opportunity that I had. That yes, I did pay for it. Now it was a nice little penny for the ticket, and I loved it. It was a beautiful event, and I'm so excited to tell you all about it. But I was willing to put that cash aside, possibly to sit in my house and just sit in my emotions because I lost my words. I was down. I wasn't feeling it, and I was like, but you know what? I paid for this, and I need this. And God kept pulling on me like, girl, you need to get your butt upstairs, get dressed, put on your outfit and go on out here and be the woman that I called you to be. And my brother in my ear like, sis, I need you to be out there. You're Michael Corleone, because that's what he used to call me, and I'll explain that too. And you got to go out here. You're a boss. So I need to get out here and be the boss that I am. And it was the best thing that I ever did. And so I want you to have moments like that can be poured into you, that can help you. So be open. Be open to new places, new spaces, new people, new situations, new impartations, because it may be just the thing that you need to keep you going. So those are my prayers for you this week. And so, yes, like I mentioned, I'm recording on Saturday, June the 29th, and I'm so excited to be recording with you at 3:02 p.m. It is my first time back. It is my words. And I'm very grateful to have them because, like I said, I had lost them. I want to thank everyone who reached out to me, who listened to my last episode. I know you must be like, Lord, I'm so glad her voice is back. Me too. I am so glad that upper respiratory infection is gone. Please watch out. These allergies are not playing in the streets. Flonase, Claritin, Neti Pots, do what you need to do because you do not want to sound like I did. But I am feeling so much better and I'm here. I'm physically like where I need to be. Emotionally, I'm probably averaging on middle of the road, like about a 6 mentally, 6, 7, 8 sometimes when I talk to my baby. That helps me. 9. He always lifts me up, makes me happy, or being around my family and friends. But it is a varying scale. And that is just the cycle and life of grief. And that's where I am. But right now, I feel like I'm a 9 sitting here talking to you guys because this is exactly what I need. So yes, like I said, I want to thank you. I want to thank everyone for their kind words, their condolences, their support. And please understand that if I wasn't able to respond to you, it was not out of thoughtlessness. It truly is because I lost my words. I've kind of peeped on social media here and there, but I haven't been able to be on it consistently just because I don't have the energy to spare. And I know that's probably sounds crazy, but it's true. I just don't have the energy to spare. I had to do a lot of work for my brother's service, which turned out beautifully. It was officially a week from today, a week ago, and I'm here. And I'm very grateful. So thank y'all for the support. And I promise that I'm back and I'm here. And like I said, I'm inspired because I had an opportunity to be open. And that openness really gave me the strength to come back because I just didn't have it. I really didn't. And I'm still struggling. And so I hope this doesn't sound rambly. I promise to try to sound as clear and focused as my heart feels. But if I do, just charge it to the game because I'm processing. But yes, I'm back. And this week I wanted to talk with you guys about an event that I had an opportunity to go to. I went to an event here, and I'm based in Orlando, Florida, and I went to a gala for Women on the Rise, which is a local nonprofit organization that is run by Arlene Blake, and it really is an organization for the betterment of women. They have career cohorts. I can't believe I can't say cohort. Cohorts, as well as they also do events in the community. They also have supporting for women who are entrepreneurs, women who are trying to build in their careers. I mean, there is just so many different levels to this organization. And I had heard of Arlene and her organization, but I had never been to an event because y'all know how I've been. I'm literally have been a hermit in my house. But as someone who is focused on women, I've really kind of taken a step and look, especially as I've been working on setting up the Reset, which we'll talk a little bit more about as well. And for those of you that don't know, the Reset is a one-day event that I am curating here in Orlando, Florida. It's going to be on August the 24th at the Wave Lake Nona Hotel. And I have some amazing speakers, and it is a day reset. I promise you, in that one day, we are going to give you tools and tips that will help you create actionable change in 4 key areas of your life. And that is mental health, physical health, financial health, and building community. Because when I was in my season, when I was down, and part of the promise that I made to God to share my story, those were the areas that I struggled in. Child, I had hit rock bottom pretty much in all of those areas. And so I want to help create space for women to dial into themselves. Because if I think about it, I was in survival mode for so long. I didn't dial into those areas. And so I want to create space in a beautiful environment where you are loved and supported by like-minded women and given tools that you can actually leverage to be able to create actionable change in your life in those 4 key areas in 60 days. So I'm going to make sure that I share a link in the show notes about it, but it just was like perfect alignment for me to want to see Arlene in action because I had heard so many amazing things and just seen so much of her work. So I went to the event. And to say I struggled is an understatement because literally, I'm not going to lie, the day before, I started trying to come up with excuses. The day of, I tried to come up with excuses. But I finally had gotten to a point about 2:00 when I was like, yes, 2:00 the day of the event. I got to a point where I said, you know what, Pam, you need to do this. Because God had been on my spirit like, girl, you need to get back out here. You need to be able to speak. And this might be just what you need in order to move forward. And to say that it was what I needed and more is an understatement. It was just so beautiful to be in a room with so much positive energy, so many like-minded women. Unfortunately, one of the women who is a part of the organization, her husband had been in a tragic car accident that day. And so we all came together. Women of all races, walks of life came together, held hands. And let me also add, men too, because there were men in the space as well, came together before we even got started with the event and prayed for this woman's husband so that we could show our love and support for her and send positive energy because she needed a miracle. And so it was just beautiful to even have those type of starts and just to see all of the beautiful faces and just to feel all the energy, and everyone was so kind and welcoming. And it was just everything that I needed. And so essentially this Women on the Rise Gala was an opportunity to spotlight amazing women in the community who are doing amazing things in regards to entrepreneurship, doing STEM work, health, mental health, education. Like, it was just awesome to see so many dynamic women who may go unnamed doing the work, because really that's what I love. Because not everyone is a celebrity. There's a lot of people in the work community who do great things and don't sometimes get recognized. But to be in that space where your name could get called, where you can be loved on, cheered on, it was awesome. I had an opportunity at the table that I sat to sit next to this amazing young woman. Her name is Jonna Williams. And I'm going to make sure, yes, Jonna. And she was so kind, her and her mother. And she was so on fire because she got a scholarship, and she just is such a dynamic young woman who has had to overcome so many health challenges in her life, and so many times where she felt low, and she was so transparent about her journey where she felt maybe she wanted to end her own life. And just to be able to show that if you have faith, if you believe in yourself and you give yourself strength, and you can pull yourself through, and to be in that room surrounded by people who want to cheer her on and love on her, it was amazing. And so I felt lifted because I needed that reminder. I needed that reminder that I could do this, that reminder of why I do this, and that I can keep going forward. And the theme of the event was Lemons into Legacy. And the reason that resonated with me is because if I think about it, like Arlene had mentioned during her address, that we've all got a story. We've all gone through something. No one is living the perfect life. The difference is that many people have chosen to, unfortunately, let the lemons that they are carrying hold them down. And then there are also many people who have chosen to let those lemons create this beautiful gift that they give to the community so that other people don't have to go through what they're going through. And so that reminded me, of course, of why I do this. Because like I told you guys before, this is my vow to God. This is my purpose. This is what I am on fire about, because I love serving women. I love that. And I will be also moving to a point where I start to serve men, because that's now in my heart after my brother passed. And as I start to materialize and pray about that, I definitely will bring that out more, because everybody has something that they have gone through. It's just a matter of have people chosen to allow it to be an anchor, or have they allowed it to be fuel? And every person in that room had made the decision to let it be fuel. And it was just, like I said, so beautiful to see women of all races and ages coming together, because they are committed to not let their trials and tribulations stop them from moving to the next level. And I wanted us to talk about it because I need you to understand that your trials and tribulations shouldn't be stopping you from getting to the next level. Your trials and tribulations, you need to learn to look at those things as situations and recognize that those situations can help fuel you so you can move forward. I want you to fuel you because it's time for you to move forward. It's time for you not to sit in it. It's time for you to go forward, because we need you. If we don't need you now, honey, we are never going to need you. You don't need me to talk about what's going on in the world. You are not blind to the fact we need you. We need each other. And it's time for us all to get really real, really fast so that we can come out here and be the best versions of ourselves. So yes, I needed that in that room. I needed to be in that space. I needed to have people love on me to remind me that even though in this season I may have lost my words aren't lost. They were just put in a box for a while because I'm caught in my feelings, which is understandable. But I have to let the situation fuel me because I have purpose in it. There is something that I need to build. This is part of my legacy. And so I want you to understand the parts of your legacy that are tied to your pain, and that you can turn your pain into purpose. And like I said, it was just wonderful. And I'm going to make sure that I link Arlene's information in the show notes. I'm going to join her organization because what I saw that night made me understand that I needed even more. And that is one of the reasons why I wanted at my event, the Reset in August, that I am going to talk about the power of building community, because we can't do this alone. You have to be around like-minded people. You have to be around people who can show you that there is purpose in the pain that you're going through, because they've gone through some pain and they've survived it, and they're thriving in it now. and you can thrive too. So I definitely want to make sure I spotlight it. And I have asked that I get a chance to interview her. I had a chance to meet her after the event, and I'm going to reach out because I can't wait to interview her because she has quite a story as well. She's a single mom. She's lost both of her parents. And for her to be in a situation where she is so giving, so dynamic, I want to spotlight that because I want to make sure as many women as possible know what you can accomplish, what you can be a part of, because I understand everybody might not be ready to lead, but everybody at some point in time has to be willing to follow, because when you follow, you get imparted into, you get taught, you have an ability to learn, you have an ability to grow that will help you move to your next level. So I want to help you move to your next level because it is helping me. And so, yes, being able to turn my lemons, because this is a lemon situation. I'm not going to pretend. Like I said, yes, my brother and I had a very complex relationship, but I loved him. I loved him dearly. And it is hard on me right now because I'm going through the cycle where it's not about regrets. It's just I wish there was more. I wish he had more time because he was trying to get his life right. Because I used to tell him all the time, God has purpose on you. Even when he would sit up here and drink and smoke and be disrespectful to our mother or do things that would jeopardize his life, I would still tell him God has purpose for you. God hasn't given up on you. He keeps sparing you. He keeps trying to save you because he has a purpose. And so I want to make sure that I speak into that purpose. And yeah, I did. Even when I didn't like him, because there were times I did not like him. I loved him, but I didn't like him as a person. And I'm just going to keep it all the way G. And he knew that because I didn't like how he did things, but I loved him. He is one of the greatest loves of my life. I wear a necklace with his name around it. I've done it for years because he is one of the greatest loves of my life. And to see him be gone, to not be here, it is very hard. But I know that he is at rest. And that day on the service, when we were on our way driving, I felt his energy. I knew that he was well. I knew it was well. When I spread his ashes over my grandparents' grave, as he requested, I knew it was well. And so I know that he is ready for me to keep going forward. And I'll grieve as I go, but I'm going to go forward. I'm going to use this lemon as fuel toward my legacy because I want to make sure that I speak into other men and other families so that they don't experience what I've experienced. Because addiction is a drug and it affects not just the person who is addicted, it affects the entire family and it creates generational curses based upon the actions that they take. And we have to be willing to address it and stand in honesty. So I'm willing to do that work because I know that it is needed. But right now, as I focus on healing, as I focus on being able to continue the work that I'm doing, I'm very grateful to be able to be in situations and spaces where people remind me to turn my lemons into legacy. And so I hope that you get that opportunity as well to recognize that you can't do it alone. That it's okay to stand in our seasons. It's okay to feel all the feels, to be down, to be depressed, but don't stop. Don't ever stop. And find your tribe. Even if that tribe doesn't look like what you thought it was going to look like, act like how you thought it was going to act, be open. Because you never know how God is trying to speak into you and bless you. And like I said, that event really did give me the energy to go back, but it reminded me of why it is so important for me to do the reset. Because again, the reset is my first time doing an event of this scale. I've done smaller ones, but this is my first time doing something like this and it won't be the last. Let me tell you that it will not be the last because I know that we need as many places and spaces as possible in order to connect women because we need each other. But I definitely know that I have to keep pushing and going forward because we need it. We need it. We are so driven in doing so many things. We have to have spaces to connect because it's too easy to be siloed. It's too easy to get caught up in our stuff, and I don't want you to get caught up in your stuff anymore. And I'm not going to get caught up in my stuff. We're going to do this together. We're going to collapse hands together. And so I hope that this kind of reminds you to be open, to turn your lemons into legacy, to don't be afraid to build community because that community can save you. That community can inspire you. That community can build you up when it feels like you are on your last. And they can help you see that this too shall pass. So that is the episode this week. I know it's a little bit shorter. I'm still kind of winding my way through, but I'm very grateful, like I said, to be back. So I'll be popping up around. You'll definitely see information in reference to the reset because it is coming up. It's August the 24th, and I want you all to get your tickets. So I'm going to make sure that I have all the details in the show notes. And I plan on spending this next few weeks, month, as we are preparing for the event, spotlighting speakers, talking about events, and talking about content as it relates to mental health, physical health, financial health, and building community, so we can start to tee ourselves up for the reset because it's going to be amazing. And I cannot stress enough that, yes, I do believe in obviously going to events and networking, but I also believe in going to events and having people walk away with items that will help actually create actionable change. That is what my event is about. I promise you, you will have specialized tools in your hand. And the Wave Lake Nona is gorgeous and beautiful, and you'll have amazing food and be surrounded by women who are just positive and good energy. So very grateful about that. Of course, I have to tell you guys because I'm getting hype even just thinking about it because I need a reset. I think you all need a reset. Don't we all need a reset right now? Because June was nothing to play with. It was not. I am very excited for what July will bring. I definitely will make sure, like I said, that I am consistent as life will allow me to be. So again, I'm extending myself grace. I hope you will as well. But I promise to be around because we got to go through. Remember, we're turning lemons into legacy over here. That's the new thing. Lemons into legacy, baby, all the way. So I want to thank you guys again for listening. I will have all of my information in the show notes. Please don't hesitate to like, share, subscribe, follow, forward. Do all the things, y'all, because I want us to continue to grow. And if you would like to reach out to me directly, hit me up on the socials. I am there on Instagram quite often. I'm even coming back into the Facebook a little bit more. So you will, like I said, kind of connect with me. I'm very happy to talk with you and support you and encourage you. And I just, again, want to thank you all for all your kindness and support as I'm grieving. I really appreciate it. You made me feel so loved, and you're making me feel so good about coming back. I want to thank you. I pray that you have an amazing Sunday. This is the last Sunday in June. I am sending you so much love going into July. I am truly believing that July will be an amazing month for you. And I'm just truly covering you in love and prayers. Please take care of yourselves and each other. And I'll be back next week with a brand new episode, and we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.